Mickey got around all of the training that a police officer or a deputy for the sheriff's department would normally have. You guys will hear it. Question. Okay. What year did you start with the Fleming Neon Police Department? 2001, I believe. How long did you work at Fleming Neon Police Department? 7 months. Why did you leave that job? Cutbacks. What was your position with the Fleming Neon Police Department? I was a patrol officer. Okay, so cutbacks. You lost your job? What did you do after that? I drew unemployment for some time. I don't know exact date. What after that? I went to work for the sheriff's office. Okay, who was the sheriff when you went to work for the sheriff's office? Steve Banks. Question. Steve Banks. And what year would that have been? Answer, 2002. Was the training that you received as a deputy sheriff different from the training that you received as a patrol officer? Do you want me to repeat that question? Yeah. And then his lawyer chimes in, Mr. Shaw, and says, are you talking about did he go to the academy twice? And then the lawyer says, question, do you have to go to the academy as a police officer? Mickey says yes. Question, and so that the same academy you would go to as a new deputy sheriff? Answer, let's talk. So Mickey said that to his attorney. And then Mr. Shaw says, yeah, let's talk. And Miss Baxter says, okay, we can take a break. They took a break. Question. I think the last question that I had was the academy training that you received as a patrol officer, the same as the academy training that you would have received as Letcher County Sheriff's deputy? Answer. When I was policing at Neon, I got laid off because of money. They couldn't send me to the academy, so I actually never attended. Okay, so did you attend the academy in 2002 when you went to work for the Letcher County Sheriff's Office? His lawyer jumps in and says, well, that was the point of confusion. There are different types of academy training, Ms. Baxter. That is what I'm trying to figure out. Mr. Shaw, Mickey's attorney, says, he went to the academy, but not, let me explain his academy training. Question. Let's let him testify for himself. That's the female attorney. Answer, and this is Mickey. So the deputy sheriff has an academy that's 20 weeks long. Court security officers, remember we learned this in Ben Fields's interview and the investigation into him. Court security officers have an academy that's only 2 weeks. And you have different types of training for both. So when I was initially hired for Stephen Banks, they put me through pre-pops. And I was about to work the road and work the court and stuff. And she says, okay, so did both the deputy training. So you did both the deputy training and the CSO training? And Mickey answers and says, I've never attended the academy. That is what you first asked when I first with, and then he trails off. You have got a year to attend. She says, okay. And Mickey says, after that, I worked for Stephen Banks for 7 months. Danny Webb came in. I worked the road and court for Danny. During that time, Danny comes to me and says, you says, see, they really needed a proofreader. This is a deposition. So that really kind of looks bad that there's so many typos in this. Anyway, Danny comes to me and says, you says, do you want to be a road officer or court officer? And I said, I'll be a court security. And he said, well, we can get you grandfathered in. And I had to take all of their steps to be a court security officer. Now, grandfathered in, my boys' dad, he had worked at a carpet store for 17 years. New owners came in and took over this carpet store, and they put things into effect like a drug test for new employees and stuff like that. Well, their dad didn't have to do any of that. He didn't have to take a drug test because he had been there for 17 years. So that's what they called his too. He was grandfathered in. So that's what they're meaning by this. He was grandfathered in, meaning he had already been working there. So they didn't make him do any of that stuff, which I think is a big bunch of malarkey. Thank you to whoever donated. Yay! Thank you, honey. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'm not watching any of my thing here, y'all. So if anybody needs me, I don't know what to tell you. Okay, let me get back over here. And he said, we can get you grandfathered in. And I had to take all of their steps to be a court security officer. Question. Okay, I just want to make sure that I understand. So in 2002 is when you first went to work for the Letcher County Sheriff's Office? Yes. Well, why don't you just tell me what training you did when you first came on board? Well, answer, this is Mickey. When I originally went for Neon, I had to take all of the pre-pops. That is the fitness. Ms. Baxter, sorry, we didn't turn the audio back on. Question, pre-pops, okay? And he says, once you do that, you can take the other training at the academy. Neon laid me off, and I didn't get to go to that one. She says, okay, that makes sense. So did you end up doing that training after you went to Letcher County Sheriff's Office? Not the full 20-week academy, no, ma'am. Why not? The position they put me in the state didn't require me to attend that. And what was that position? The court security officer. She says, well, that's helpful. So then when Webb came in 7 months later, I think that I understood you to say that he asked you what position that you wanted and what was your response to him. And let me stop that right there for a second. Now, on the page before that, he said that he had been working the road and security for them, and he had no training. He had no sheriff's department training. So they put him out there on the road without no training, without no deputy training. I mean, I'm just saying. This is kind of the thing that I have been saying for a very long time. It's a culture. And they don't hire people who actually have maybe ethical training or, maybe some ethics courses, a degree, something that shows that you have studied and that you have a little bit of knowledge. You might have a little bit of credentials behind your name. Mickey didn't have any of that. He didn't have any of that. Blows me away. And it appears that they got around all of the training that he could have went to. I don't know. It's just something that I noticed, y'all.